Senator. Can we pray? Gracious and loving God, we thank you for this beautiful day in this beautiful community which you've given us. And we thank you for the brave men and women who have served this country so well over the years, preserving honor and freedom here and abroad. Oh Lord, as we celebrate today, we ask a special blessing upon the individual medal recipients and their families. May they know that your hand has always been upon them and will continue to bless them in the days going forward. May this be a time of celebration as we give them and you all honor and glory. In your most precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Now I would like to welcome you all to the Stonington Middle School Choir, who will sing the national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, thank you to the Stonington Middle School Choir. That was a wonderful rendition, and thank you for being here with us today. Now I would like to ask Representative Greg Howard to join me as we lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry to make you stand up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So you may be seated. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm State Senator Heather Summers, and it's an honor to be with you all here today. The Connecticut Veterans Wartime Service Medal was established by Governor Jody Rell and the Connecticut General Assembly in 2005 as a way to recognize the service of our state's veterans. Connecticut has a rich history in honoring our service members returning from war that dates back to the Civil War. The Connecticut Wartime Service Medal is patterned after the medal issued in World War I. It includes the distinctive red, white, and blue colors along the official seal of each branch of the U.S. Armed Forces and the words, quote, "for service," end quote. We are honored to present these medals to you to commemorate and thank you for your service and your sacrifice to this country and to our state. Each of you or your family members that we are honoring today answered the nation's call to defend our freedoms. You put aside your civilian life to stand with something greater than yourselves, to protect the rights, the liberties, and the freedoms that make the United States of America the greatest nation on earth to this day. Many of you left behind to fight in foreign lands and protect the lives and freedoms of others. Often, they were people whose language you did not speak and whose culture was very different from our own here. But they all had one thing in common. They were human beings in need of your help. In fighting for them, you were helping to promote the ideals of liberty and justice around the world. You were also protecting those ideals back here at home. You helped prevent hostile actions on our shores while liberating the victims of dictators and terrorists. In some of the wars, you were welcomed as heroes, both abroad and at home. Unfortunately, the people that you were fighting didn't always welcome your efforts. Some saw you as invaders, and your return home was not always celebrated as it should have been. Instead of being treated with dignity and honor, you were met with contempt. For that, and I turn to the other officials here, we are deeply sorry. As soldiers, your duty is to not fight when the conflict is popular or has a high approval rating. You do it for your country when it is needed. Soldiers do not choose war, and they do not choose the wars in which they fight. You choose to defend our beautiful country, you choose to defend your community and family, and you choose to defend the rights of those who criticize your efforts at times. I am glad to say that today our country and our state acknowledge the sacrifices that you and your families have made and the toll that they have taken on you. We hope events like this ceremony today will help end any stigma veterans face and will encourage others to show you the respect that you so deserve. Because today we honor your service. We are here to recognize the sacrifices that you made, and we as generations of Americans can be free and benefit from those sacrifices. The Connecticut Wartime Service Medal recognizes the role you played in protecting and preserving our greatest republic. It is a small token from a grateful state and grateful representatives, and is our honor to present you with this award today. So I would now like to introduce, and it is my honor to introduce, our Veterans Commissioner, Tom Sadi, from the Department of Veterans Affairs. I am not going to read this whole bio. Do you want me to not read the whole bio? I could read the whole bio. We might be here for 20 minutes. He wants me to condense it. It is an honor and privilege to introduce Thomas Sadi, who served as the acting commissioner of Connecticut's Department of Veterans Affairs since October 2017, and then as commissioner since February 2018. Commissioner Sadi is also a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. Prior to beginning his service with the Department of Veterans Affairs, Commissioner Sadi served as an assistant attorney general and special prosecutor for the state of Connecticut for 15 years. Commissioner Sadi is a graduate of Immaculate High School in Danbury, Western Connecticut State University, and received his Juris Doctor from Quinnipiac School of Law, cum laude. He is a member of the American Legion Post 60, Catholic War Veterans Post 1042 in Danbury, and the 4th JAG Officers Association, the Association of the United States Army, and is a life member of the Reserve Officers Association. He is active with other veterans, civic, and social organizations, and is the recipient of many, many awards in recognition of his public service, including the Connecticut Law Tribune Impact Award, the Elks Lodge Citizen of the Year Award, the Amos House Charitable Community Service Award, the Danbury Athletic Old Timer Civic Award, American Dream Leadership Award, and the Lebanon American Club Person of the Year for 2018. And a Department of Defense certification of appreciation for his leadership in public policy changes positively impacting Connecticut service members and their families in 2021. Commissioner Sadi was born in Boston, Massachusetts. He's a first-generation Lebanese American, making him the first Arab American commissioner for the Veterans Affairs and the only currently serving Arab American state agency commissioner in Connecticut. He lived in Massachusetts until his family moved to Saudi Arabia in 1978 for his father's employment, and he returned to his mother's hometown of Danbury, Connecticut in 1985, where he now resides with his wife, Valerie, and their twin children. It's an honor to introduce to you Commissioner Tom Sadi.
Thank you, Senator Summers, for the introduction, and I appreciate not only the intro, but your service to our state, your continued support, along with Representative Howard of our Department of Veterans Affairs, of our veterans and their family members. Good afternoon, Representative Howard, Colonel Simmons, Captain McCauley, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, veterans. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to participate in this very special ceremony honoring our Connecticut Wartime Service Medal veterans from the greater Stonington area. I am honored to serve as Commissioner of the Department of Veterans Affairs because I lead an agency with a mission of serving those who have served. And with those 4 simple words comes a great responsibility, as it is only because of those who served and those who continue to serve in our armed forces, that all Americans are able to live in this great, free, and democratic nation, where we may worship as we choose, speak our minds, support or oppose government policies or politicians without fear of oppression. It is you, our veterans, who are here today. It is you who make that and made that a reality. You and your family members are here, and these officials are here because you understand the meaning of service to nation and to community. It is our collective responsibility to remind others who may not appreciate the meaning of that service how important that service is, and to recognize those who have worn and continue to wear the uniform. That is why I am so proud to be here, to honor the veterans today who served in time of war, protecting not only this nation, but hundreds of millions of people across the globe from tyranny and oppression. It is an honor to be able to join with these officials to present the Connecticut Wartime Service Medal to you all in recognition of your service. And while the Wartime Service Medal recognizes individual service, there is a symbol that stands for your collective service and for all who have ever worn the uniform throughout our history. It's that flag and no other flag, north or south, that represents the principles of freedom and democracy for which you and your brother and sister veterans served. It is that flag since June 14, 1777, that has stood as the official symbol of this great nation, a nation created by and sustained by the service of those in uniform. For nearly 250 years, since Massachusetts militiamen faced down British regulars on the commons of Lexington and Concord and drove them back to their siege works in Boston. It is you who have made that sacrifice. And it is many of your brothers and sisters, 1 million of them, who made the ultimate sacrifice. Because when you hear that freedom is not free, think of that number. 1 million. Not $1 million, not 1 million gold bars, but 1 million beating hearts. 1 million lives and their families who had to leave them on that altar of freedom. That's the price. It's something we must ensure that this nation never forgets. Unfortunately, this nation has at times failed to take up that mantle of supporting our veterans, our service members, and their families. Most of you in this room know it. This was especially the case for our Vietnam veterans, who had to unjustly endure the attacks, the insults by the public and politicians, and the apathy of a nation to their plight, both when they were in service and when they came home, with both those visible and invisible wounds of war. What the protesters, what the politicians, and what the public forgot, and what the American people must always remember, is that it was not the veteran who started that war, not the veteran who had a seat at the table in deciding how that war was conducted, or a seat at the table to negotiate how that war was ended. But whether it's that war or any other war, it's the veteran who served, who suffered, and who sacrificed, no matter their personal political feelings, because you and they answer to that higher calling, that of duty, honor, and country. To our wartime veterans, no matter your branch, whether you served domestically or abroad, you served in a time of war. You raised your right hand. You took that oath to protect and defend this nation with your life, if necessary. When I look across this room, I see many veterans who, after you hung up your service uniform, put on other uniforms, that of a lifetime of service for your families, to your communities, and in support of your brother and sister veterans. On behalf of those with whom I currently serve, I thank you for that legacy, for protecting and defending this nation, and also for advocating for your brother and sister veterans so that subsequent generations would get the recognition they deserved and to be able to thank you and recognize you for that legacy. I thank you for your service to nation, your continued service to community. What you and your brother and sister veterans have done is invaluable. You have left a legacy which is now up to the rest of us, particularly the younger generation, a legacy of a democracy that you must preserve for all Americans. Because if we fail to do that, we dishonor those 1 million who died, those multiple millions who were injured, and those multiple millions who served, including men and women here today who wore the uniform. It is through ceremonies like this that we remember and thank and remind current generations and hopefully future generations of the importance of service to country and community. I'm proud to be here to honor each of you who are receiving the medals today. I thank you for your service. May God bless you, your brother and sister veterans, our armed forces, and the United States of America. Thank you.
It is now time for the medal pinning ceremony. I'm going to defer in 2 minutes and let Commissioner Sadi give the instructions. He's very good at that. And I want to just introduce who is going to be reading the names during the ceremony. Today we have Captain Jim McCauley. He retired from the Coast Guard in 2015 after 30 years of service. He is a cutterman with more than 13 years at sea, including the command of 4 cutters, and his last assignment was the commander of cadets at the Coast Guard Academy. And we also have Colonel Rob Simmons, who is our former congressman and has served many, many years service to this country, both in the military and afterwards in Washington, D.C., and right here locally in Stonington. So I'm going to pass this over now to the commissioner, who will give you instructions on how we're going to line up and how the medals are going to be given out. Commissioner?
Thank you, Senator. So the gentleman who will be reading the names will be reading them in alphabetical order. When you hear your name, proceed to whichever aisle you're more comfortable going to. You will then, and if a line starts to form, just line up, just like you did in boot camp, behind the person in front of you. It doesn't have to be perfect alpha order. We're going to get close. We just want to make sure every name is heard. And then myself, I will be on this side. So I will pin the medal on you. You'll get the ribbon from Captain McCauley. Colonel Simmons will be there. And then stand in the center, quick picture, and return to your seat. The same thing will happen on this side of the aisle with Senator Summers and Representative Howard. Pretty straightforward. Watch the person in front of you, let them make a mistake, learn from their mistake, just like we did in basic, and don't make the same mistake that they do. Thank you.
Just a quick reminder, when you do get your medal, if you just want to wait just 2 minutes, somebody's going to be taking pictures of you at each time the medal is given so that we can send it to you or get it to you and your family. So everyone wants to get the medal and run, so we're going to ask you to just turn and smile so we can commemorate this occasion and be able to send you a picture of today. I think that we should have a collective round of applause for all of our service members. Thank you. Now I would like for us to take a moment of silence in recognition of those soldiers and those veterans who are no longer with us. Thank you. So in closing today, I want to read a simple 9-word phrase that we as lawmakers and public officials feel very strongly about. This 9-word phrase is something that we need to teach our children throughout Stonington and actually across Connecticut. It's a very simple 9-word phrase. If you love your freedom, thank a service member. We here in Eastern Connecticut must repeat that 9-word phrase to our children and our grandchildren. Take a moment to help our younger generation understand the meaning of these 9 simple words. If you love your freedom, thank a service member. That's why we asked you all here today. We love our freedom here in the state of Connecticut, in Eastern Connecticut, in Stonington, Connecticut. We love our liberty here in Eastern Connecticut, and we understand why we can enjoy those freedoms and those liberties here today. It's because of people like you. It's because of servicemen and women of Eastern Connecticut. It's because of your willingness to serve. It's because of your willingness to sacrifice. And it's because of the sacrifices your families have made. It is because of your willingness and your determination to protect our freedoms and liberties. These 9 simple words carry a lot of weight. If you love your freedom, thank a service member. We do love and cherish our freedom here in Connecticut and especially Stonington. We resolve to never take our freedoms for granted, and we thank you so much for joining us today. We are honored to be in your presence, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Outside, we have some refreshments that have been graciously donated by Big Y in Mystic. They are big supporters of veterans, and they were thrilled to be able to provide a little token of their appreciation. So please enjoy any refreshments that you would like on the way out. They're out in the hallway. So thank you for being with us today. Congratulations, and again, thank you for your service.